What's up? Welcome back to the Asymmetrical Athlete YouTube and podcast. Today, let's talk about something that I think everybody can learn something from, man, woman, or child. Let's talk about how to be successful at your job, specifically in the military, contracting, and law enforcement. Back when I joined the military in 1997, there was nobody that kind of took you in and said, hey, this is the path you need to go on. There was nobody that was like, you can do anything you want to do. I didn't really have that growing up at all. So I learned a lot of lessons the hard way, and kind of want to share them with you. I think anybody can use this, and anybody that listens to this and does use it can benefit from it. So let's talk about the military first. I think some of the things that you have to do when you join the military, obviously after basic and all that stuff, because, basic is basic, right? But you get to your first unit, you're a brand new private, you don't know what to do, you don't know what's going on, you don't know who the cool guys are, who the not cool guys are, who the fucking shitbags are, who the not shitbags are, all that stuff, right? So what you tend to do as a brand new private is you latch on to the cool guys and you do the things the cool guys are doing. Usually those cool guys are like senior E4s, things like that. And a lot of times those guys, what they do is they just get fucking drunk every night. I did that like my first three some years in the military. Last time the cool guys, we had a huge group of dudes in Germany that all hung out together. And Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and sometimes Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, we were getting fucked up. Looking back on it, obviously it was not the best choice in the world. I didn't have guidance at all when I first came in. So I think if you're going to join the Army right now, or if my kids decide they want to join the Army, a few things that I'm going to tell them is always look ahead. Look to the job that you want. Maybe you come in as a straight up 11 Bravo, you go to a regular grunt unit, but you have aspirations to be Special Forces or Delta or an Ranger Battalion or something like that, which is awesome. I would tell those guys that are doing that, or my kids if they want to do that, keep your eye on the prize and always train for that, right? Granted, you may miss out on some of the cool guy parties or some of the fun things that happen at the club, but trust me, 10 years down the road, you're not going to give a shit about missing a Friday night to go to the gym, right? Now, saying that is not saying that you have to be some fitness savant or some dude who only cares about that. I'm not saying that at all, because I want you to have fun. I want you to go make new friends. I want you to party. It's part of life. But you also need to say, hey, I can go to whatever selection when I'm a E4, E5, whatever it may be. So when I reach that goal in a couple, 2 or 3 years, I want to be in the best shape I can be. That way, when I go to selection, I'm golden. And on top of that, not just the physical aspects, right? SF selection, the hardest thing is land navigation. Delta Force, I've never been to the Delta Force selection. I know 3-4 dudes that went. I didn't talk about it too much when they came back. None of them got selected, but they just said land nav was hard. And one of these dudes was a very squared away dude that ran a consistent 12-minute 2 mile all day long for miles on end. I mean, he was like a PT stud. And that dude came back and said, hey man, land nav was a bitch. So you not only have to work on the fitness aspect of it, like running and rucking and your general military things, but you also need to do a bunch of other stuff. You need to learn your job inside and out. If you and I'm talking about infantry guys because that's what I was, and I can't speak on other MOSs, right? But if you're an infantry guy, you grab a Ranger handbook and you learn that front to back. You grab any military book, and we got a bunch of them, right? You got land nav, you got shooting, you got all the stuff, right? You got all your battle drills, all that stuff. You grab any of those books, you read them cover to cover, and you learn things. You also need to read regular books, military books. You need to read books about leadership, things like that. If you want to go into special forces, then you should read books that SF dudes wrote, that Delta Force dudes wrote. If you want to be a Navy SEAL, read books about Navy SEAL stuff. Learn the history of the places that you want to go. All the stuff that I didn't do. Not only that, when you're in your units, when you're going to the field, when you're getting deployed, things like that, you also want to be the guy that people can count on. So the more knowledge you know, the more physically fit you are. In the Army, you don't get to shoot that much. Honestly, it's shitty, but it's true. So maybe if you have a civilian rifle and you go out and shoot on your own, I don't know how that works for the barracks. That would be something that you'd have to check on, especially nowadays. But I'm pretty sure it's doable. You get a rifle, you go and train on it, right? You go do land nav on your own. On the weekends, you go hiking and whatnot. You do all this stuff on your own to better yourself, to make yourself more of an asset than a liability. There are tons and tons and tons of infantry guys that can't land nav at all, that they have to rely on a GPS to tell them where they're at because they can't look at an actual map. And it's sad. Even EIB, the Expert Infantryman's badge, they went from doing land nav to doing land nav with a GPS. And it's like, well, what the fuck? Land nav is supposed to be land nav. Pencil, paper, protractor, compass, and you're out. No more. The world's changing a little bit. But if you do have that stuff and that skill down, you're going to do way better in everything else. Let's see. One huge thing is always to be on time, be on weight, and be in the right uniform. I like telling people this story because I think it's a very interesting story. When I was in SF selection, we were weighing in our rucks, and your rucks have to weigh a certain weight dry. So you take out all your food and water, and they weigh it, right? And they have scales, and they'll set the scales up before you go, in the middle of your road marches, after your road marches. It just kind of varies. And I remember one time, came in, I was in line to weigh my ruck, weighed it, and then they put me in the go line. My ruck was on weight. I went to the go line. I was drinking some water, getting ready for them to tell us, thumbs up, get the fuck out of here. And the chaplain was coming through SF with us, and a chaplain, I don't know whose chaplain it was, but he was going through, and he was light. And he got put in the no-go pile, and there was only a couple dudes in that no-go pile. And I remember he was over there, and he was praying, and I was drinking water or whatever, and I remember a cadre walked up to that dude, and he's like, "Hey, bro, God can't even help you now." And he walked away, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, that's rough right there." But it's a good lesson. You always want to care for yourself. You want to be in the right uniform because nobody likes a shithead. You always want to be on weight. You always want to make sure you have all your stuff. Always want to be on time. 15 minutes early is actually on time. You want to be, 20 minutes early, things like that, right? Another big thing privates have an issue with is asking for help. They don't want to go to their squad leader or their team leader and ask for help because they see it as a weakness. However, if you go to your squad leader and say, "Hey, Sergeant so-and-so, hey, I'm having issues with this battle drill. I'm not quite sure, this part of it in, whatever, an L-shaped ambush. I don't get this part. Can you explain it to me or maybe draw it on the dry erase board for me?" Dude, if there's a squad leader out there that tells you go fuck yourself, you need to punch that dude right in his fucking mouth, like, as hard as you can, because that's a giant fucking piece of shit. And that dude shouldn't be leading any soldiers, all right? Everybody should be there to help you. I remember I had my privates. I had a Ranger handbook, and it wasn't every day, and I wasn't the best squad leader ever, but it wasn't every day, but I would pick a battle drill out of there, or I'd pick a task out of the Ranger handbook, and I would give it to them and be, "Hey, bro, tomorrow or later on today or whatever it may be, you're going to give this class." And, I made sure that I already knew how to do that. I made sure my team leaders already knew how to do that. So when Private Joe Snuffy did it, we were there to critique him. And we weren't there to be an asshole at all. We were there to be like, "Hey, check it out. Next time you do this, just remember this and this and this," right? And what that does is that teaches them little things. At the time, they hate it because they're like, "I don't want to fucking do this. I'd rather play Xbox." It's bullshit, right? Which brings me to another point. When you get E3, E4, E5, you get complacent, right? And everybody knows complacency kills. Well, if you are the guy that likes to play Xbox all the time, if you're the guy that says, "Hey, you know what? I don't really feel like doing shit today," and you go out and play, tell your soldiers to go home and you just go to sleep somewhere, That's not good either, right? We all have those days. Don't get me wrong. I've had those days where I didn't get any sleep the night before. I had to work all night or whatever, and the next morning I'm like, dude, we're not doing PT. I am too fucking tired. Everybody go to whoever's room. I'm gonna crash out. You guys gotta wake me up on time, and then we'll go eat breakfast or whatever. Those days happen. Totally understand. However, you can't make that the norm, right? What I wish I did was I wish I treated myself and all my soldiers like professional athletes, right? What is our job? Our job is to close with and destroy the enemy. How do we accomplish that goal? We accomplish that goal by A, B, C, and D. You know, PT, shooting, this, that, what, all the skills, right? And you could write those out, and then every day you could harness one of those, right? Like, for example, when I was in, we had, you know, the magazines that were on the front of your chest, a chest rack, a plate rack, right? So we didn't have the ones that were on your belt. We had the ones that were on your chest. So what we could have done, which I wish we'd have done, I didn't do this. What I could have done, I could have brought the soldiers out there, you know, whatever, after lunch. Hey, weapons draw, you know, whatever, 13:30. Have everybody draw their weapons out, get their shit on, right? Go somewhere where nobody's going to see us so they don't feel all fucking weird. And be like, hey, all we're going to do is we're going to practice fucking magazine changes, right? I want you to, you know, be at a low ready, come up on target, shoot your weapon, dry obviously, shoot your weapon, do a mag change. And we're going to do that 1,000 times. We're going to do that until you are 100% proficient at that, till you can't do it wrong. And then we're going to do it a little bit more. And then the next time we're going to go and we're going to do something else, right? And, you know, and you just build on everything. That's something we didn't do, or I didn't do, and I wish I had, right? Another thing is know your people, right? I just talked to somebody about this the other day, was the Army is really awesome and really shitty all at the same time. But what the Army is great at is it does studies, and their studies are 200 years long, right? I remember the first time I came in the Army, my team leader gave me a 3x5 card, and it had everything for my weapon. I carried a saw, M249, and he had everything on it, right? The cyclic rate, the, you know, max effective range, all that shit. And then he had his own, and it was blank, and I had to fill it out. It was my name, my date of birth, my mother, my father, my brothers, sisters, where I'm from, all that stuff. And he had to memorize all that because his squad leader was going to test him on that. Who's your new guy? You know, what's his favorite cereal? What, you know, does he smoke? Does he not smoke? You know, what's his favorite cartoon? All that stuff. And you're not just doing that just for out of nowhere. You're doing that because you want to get to know this guy. Because when the shit hits the fan, this is not just private fuckhead. This is, you know, Joe or Jason or Bill or whatever. This is a human being that you've grown to in the last, you know, 2 years or whatever. You've grown to love that dude. That dude's like a brother to you. So when the shit hits the fan, you're willing to do whatever it takes to save that man's life. And he's going to do that for you too, as long as he thinks that you give a fuck about him. And it's really that simple. If you're the guy that all you do is yell and you don't ever praise and you never let the dudes know they're doing good, then nobody's going to give a fuck about you when you get shot and have to drag your ass off a hot LZ. I mean, it's just the way it is. Another great thing to do as a leader, you give out all the praise. If something goes right, if you're in charge of something and something goes right, you praise all your dudes, okay? They're the ones that made it right. If something goes wrong, you take all the blame from higher. If something goes wrong, higher says, hey, who fucked up? I fucked up. It's my fault. I didn't check this. I didn't do that, whatever, right? Take all the blame, okay? You're going to get your ass chewed. Who gives a fuck? Everybody gets their ass chewed. But then you go down to your guys and be like, hey, guys, listen, here's the deal. We fucked this up. This is why I think we fucked this up. Tell me how we can fix it. Let them be part of the process, right? Don't just tell them you're fucked up and this is how you need to fix it. I mean, sometimes that's appropriate, but let them be part of the process. If the whole squad is fucked up, hey guys, we need to unfuck this. Tell me how we can unfuck this, right? And it not only makes you better and you unfuck the thing, it also brings cohesiveness. Back to always train for the job that you want. When you let's say you want to go to Delta Force, right? Because it's the pinnacle, okay? And you come in as a private and you're going to say, I want to go to Delta Force. You're going to have a bunch of people tell you you're fucking stupid and this, that, and the other, right? Don't worry about it. It's okay. They're just doing that because they're not going to do it. You need to stay on that path, right? So when on the weekends, on Saturday, Sunday morning, you're out there road marching. They're, waking up. You are out there and you're asking your squad leader, hey, can I teach a land nav class? Or, hey, squad leader, can you teach me a land nav class? Can you teach me this class? Can you give our guys this class? Because that's just going to make you better. And granted, you're going to seem like a Moonlight Ranger, or you're going to seem like you're trying to stand out, but you're not. You're just trying to gain knowledge. Another thing, you can always ask for schools, right? Hey, can I go to this school? Can I go to that school? Can I go to this school? And keep harping on it, because who gives a shit? And that kind of goes for across the board, whatever job you're in. Hey, can I get this class, go to this school, whatever. If you want to better yourself, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Talk about working off duty to improve, going to the range on your own, rucking on your own, learning shit on your own, all those skills you can develop. Going to classes on your own, you can put in for a 4-day weekend pass, and that 4-day weekend you go and take a gun class from somebody in a different state. All it's going to do is make you better. Right? Now, all this stuff I've talked about has been focused on the military, but you can go into the contracting world, which is my second, career field. All that shit carried right over. Now, there's not too many schools to go to and things like that, but when you walked into the contracting world, you were expected to be above average. You were expected to do better than a normal person. If we said, hey, we need to drag this thing to over there, you were already expected to be able to do it. When you walked in there, they expected you to be a completely molded person. You may not know every single detail about the job, but you should be able to get the job done no matter what. So you had to be on time, right uniform, weight, all that stuff. You were expected to do that to a more professional, bigger standard, right? That was the job where if you asked anybody for help, they would help you. Anybody would go out of their way to help you. Hey, you dude, I don't even know. Hey, bro, I seen you doing this yesterday. What was that? Why were you doing it? Can you help me out? Fuck yes, they would take their time. Yeah, bro, I got you. Hey, the reason why I shoot a pistol like this and I did that is because of this. The reason why I hold my weapon like this is because of this. And everybody was super, super helpful out there. And that was awesome because, again, everybody came from different backgrounds and everybody had different levels of knowledge. And it was awesome to work in that capacity. Again, at military, they bring you up from a nothing, and you are kind of in charge of how much you know and how much you do. Contracting, they expect you to be better than average, right? Then we kind of flip the tables a little bit when we go into the law enforcement world. As a cop, it's weird. Going from what I did before into law enforcement is very strange because I expected something different. I expected that all cops were shooting on their own and doing PT on their own and things like that. And what I found out was that is not true at all. And it kind of fucked me up a little bit. I found that the majority of cops can barely pass their qualification on their pistol qual. I also found out a majority of cops don't even have rifles in their car because they never went to the rifle school and learned how to shoot a rifle, as if it's fucking hard or something. There are cops out there that don't have a flashlight on their pistol because they didn't go to the flashlight course. There are cops out there that are overweight and can barely breathe because they never go to the gym. There are cops out there that honestly don't belong in a fucking uniform because they are so inept at their fucking job that they should be fucking tarred and feathered out in public. And I'm not saying that I was the best cop in the world or that I knew everything, not by any means, but I was always asking questions. Hey, what about this? Well, wait a minute. And I was always the guy that said, wait a minute, what about this? Like, is this going there? And I had a couple really, really, really good leaders. And I had a bunch of really good partners and a bunch of dudes that I worked with. That everybody that I worked with, for the most part, was willing to help you out. Especially as a new cop, if you don't know everything, they're willing to sit down and they're willing to help you out. And what my personality is like. When I come in here, I'm gonna talk shit to you, and I expect you to talk shit back to me, and that's how we interact, right? But if you need help, I'm going to help you. Point blank, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need me to stay after work to help you, I'm going to help you. You're hung up on a report, you don't know what to do, I'm going to help you. You can't find the right statute to put in there, I'm going to help you. You have 600 pieces of evidence and there's only 30 minutes till your time to get off work, I'm going to help you. If I came in on shift and my overnight shift partners, me and my day shift guys came in and there was a whole bunch of evidence and these guys couldn't get it done in time, we got you. That's the kind of personality I am. And I was lucky enough to work with some dudes like that. I really was. Some dudes like that were awesome. Some dudes not so much, right? Some dudes went to the gym all the time. Some dudes didn't. Some dudes really enjoyed guns and shooting guns. And other dudes probably shouldn't have had a gun. I mean, fucking all honesty, just give them a rape whistle or something. But all this stuff blends in with each other, right? No matter what your job is or what you want to do, treating yourself like an athlete, is always good, right? It's always good to be healthy. It's always good to be strong or physically fit or whatever you want to call it. And that varies, right? So maybe you're not a bodybuilder. Okay. Maybe you're not a CrossFitter. Maybe you're a powerlifter and your fitness is described a little bit different than somebody else's. That's totally fine because you're doing something. You're going to the gym, right? Maybe you're a marathon runner and that's your thing. Okay, cool. Like I'm all about it because you're doing something extra. You should never say that this job is all I need. I don't need anything extra outside of the job. That is the wrong way to think. And in all these jobs, one thing that I never was, and I tried to not be ever was like a golden boy, like a cocksucker is what we call them, right? I never liked to do that. I was always the one that kind of spoke my mind. I was always the one speaking up. I was always the one sticking up for people. Everybody knew that, like, if there was something fucked up, I would say something about it. Because I don't think sucking dick gets you anywhere in life. It may get you somewhere in the short term, but in the law enforcement world, the good old boy system is alive and well. And if you suck the right dicks, you'll get promoted and you'll go up in rank and nobody fucking respects you. Why? Because everybody knows how you got that rank. And it's not a secret, right? It's out there. Nobody really wants to admit it right now in the law enforcement world because everybody in law enforcement thinks they're better than everybody, some fucking weird reason. But the good old boy system is alive and well. If you suck the right dick, you'll get promoted. And it's horrible because a lot of good dudes are getting out of law enforcement. A lot of good dudes are leaving because of shit like that, because of horrible leadership. Again, in law enforcement, all you have to do to be a good leader for your subordinates is to give a fuck. Plain and simple. If you care about them, like honestly care, how was your day? How are your kids, dude? Hey, did your kid pass that math test? Oh, really? It's that simple. When you're in the Army, you go to a field problem, 2 weeks of hanging around the exact same 10 people all the time, 24 hours a day, you learn a lot about each other. Contracting world, when you're, with the same dudes, live with the same dudes for 3 months at a time, you learn a lot about them. In the police world, if you're on the, you got the same partner for a year on a 12-hour shift and you're, with them on every call and this, that, and the other, you learn a lot about those dudes. You form a bond and it's hard to break that bond. It really is because, hey, that's my dude. I'm with that dude 12 hours a day, every day, 3-4 days a week. That's my boy right there. And you're going to do whatever it takes to help him out. Obviously, you're not going to break the law or no stupid shit like that. But, if he needs help with writing a report or doing evidence or anything, or if he needs backup, you're going to haul ass over there to help him out. And you're also going to be there to make sure they don't get in trouble. That's another big thing is you may not want to be a cocksucker, but you also don't want to let your boys get themselves in trouble, right? If you see your friend getting a little out of line, as a cop, if he's getting a little angry, hey bro, hey, woo, I got this. You go stand over there, I'll go talk to him. My partners have done that to me 3 or 4 times because whatever it is, whatever interaction I was having, I was getting heated, I was getting super pissed, and there's a line that I have to where if I cross that line, I get like really fucking mad. And my partners could see that, and they would say, "Hey, ooh, hey, back off, dude. Hey, I got this. Go chill out." Okay, cool. And you walk away, right? And it takes a good partner to do that, and it takes a good person to be able to realize that you're getting angry and that you need to pull back. But those are some tips to be successful in anywhere in life. In high school, all the way up through your career, right? You don't have to be a cocksucker to get ahead in life. You really don't. You just got to be a good person who wants to learn, who wants to do better, who strives for something more than just where they're at, and actually cares about their job and wants to learn it and wants to be better. That's it. All right? And if you're not one of those people right now, it's easy to change. It really is. Look at your job. Hey, man, if you work at McDonald's and what did I do? I worked at McDonald's. My first job was like taking out trash and stuff and mopping the floors. Oh, you know what? I want to be a burger flipper because that's the next step up. How do I do that? All right, well, I got to learn how to do this, that, and the other. It's easy, right? And maybe, you're at McDonald's, you're like, hey, I want to be a cop. Then you know what? Go do some ride-alongs, do some things, and show those dudes, yes, I want to be a cop. Yes, I'm a good person. And, I want to make my community better. And all these things are real simple to do, and anybody can do them. It doesn't matter what color, creed, sex, orientation, none of that shit matters, right? All that matters is, do you want to be a better person? Do you want to be better at your job? Do you want to strive for excellence? And most importantly, do you want to be an asset or a liability?